Imagine 1 minute you're just relaxing at your luxury Thailand resort only to be quickly snapped back to reality because some of the other guests are screaming about actually having to pay for their stay. Is your personal data safe in Thailand? Well, according to a particular dark web seller, no, it's not. A violent case that absolutely rocked Thailand a decade ago gets a very controversial update, and later we'll hear about a tourist in the country who was just trying to do the right thing but ended up paying a very painful price for it. Welcome back to Thailand Headlines. Let's unpack them. How's it going? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you are having a wonderful day. Per usual, we've got some wild updates coming out of the land of smiles today. I have gathered up the stories that stood out to me, things that I think are very relevant if you are a foreigner planning a trip here. Maybe you already live here. Maybe you have no intent on coming to Thailand, but you just love to peruse wild news stories. We got you covered, no matter what. Some of these stories today are in a very dark light. They're not fun things to talk about, but important nonetheless, in my opinion. And then some other ones are good lessons on exactly what not to do as a tourist in Thailand, or a tourist in any country for that matter. In particular, with a couple of these stories, I think there will be some of you that are not going to be very surprised. I know I wasn't, but it's always nice to be justified in your assumptions, if you know what I'm saying. So thank you so much for being here. Let's get into our first story. Indian tourists asked to leave Songkhla resort after heated dispute. A seaside camper resort in Songkhla shared a Facebook post on June 12th describing what it called the worst experience in its 5 years of operation after a dispute with a group of Indian tourists. The resort said the group requested to check in at 8 a.m. without paying an early check-in fee. They booked 3 tents, each meant for 2 guests. So by that math, I'm not very good at it, so just to help you out, 3 tents, that should be good for about 6 people, two people in each tent, right? The booking covered 6 people in total, but the resort said the group tried to stay with 9 people without paying extra occupancy charges. According to the resort, the tourists also expected extra services without additional payment, requested exceptions to the resort's policies, and refused to follow rules communicated before arrival. When staff explained the charges and policies, the resort said the group responded with rude and aggressive behavior. The post alleged that the employees were verbally abused and that one female staff member was left in tears. We'll go into this a little bit more. I just want to chime in real quick to say my number one red flag is people that are rude to service staff. I've gone on dates before and the girl will be rude to the server. I think that is a great judge of character. Now, don't get me wrong. I know what it's like to have frustrations, and I am not a saint by any means. There's times I've gotten frustrated and could have been more friendly, but never to the point where it reduced somebody to tears. I mean, what are we doing, guys? To prevent further problems, the resort decided to issue a full refund and asked the group to leave the property. However, the resort said the dispute continued after the refund was agreed. According to the post, the tourists claimed they had paid significantly more than the actual booking amount. While the room rate was approximately 700 baht per night, the group allegedly sought a refund that exceeded the amount paid. The resort said it presented the original booking confirmation and payment records from the booking platform to verify the transaction. A full refund was then issued based on the recorded payment amount. The resort also mentioned in their post that this, story was in no way intended to paint an entire group of people in one light. They were very transparent about acknowledging that, hey, of course we understand this isn't everybody. We just ask if you come here, you be respectful and follow our policies, which I think is plenty reasonable. But if you have spent any time in Thailand, or in a lot of places for that matter, you will know that certain groups have certain reputations. And I understand, just like everybody else, that of course it's not always everybody in that group that tends to do things like this, but stereotypes are a thing for a reason. I have seen things personally with some Indian tourists, especially in Pattaya, things that you would not catch me doing no matter what. But it's not just them. I've seen tourists from all over the place, not be as good at people as they could. But I have noticed a bit of a trend. Let me know down in the comments if you have as well, what you think, if you have any horror stories. I'd love to hear them. But guys, I hope I don't have to tell you, if you're coming to a place, please just play by the rules. If, staff says you can or cannot do one thing, just do it. If you don't like it, go somewhere else. There is somewhat of a strange narrative out there that Thai people, since they are friendly, they're kind of easy to get one over on. They're easy to take advantage of. It's not true. Thai people are absolutely friendly until you give them a good enough reason not to be, and then they will for sure stick up for themselves. We've all seen the videos. You push it too far, they are gonna push back, to say the least. Now, rolling right into our next story, this is one that I am so paranoid about nowadays. Like, I have seen some crazy stories. I have some friends who are pretty tech savvy that have shown me some stuff. So I am so paranoid about this. Not that I have a ton to lose, but it can end up being a huge nightmare. It's a very big thing that's talked about in the Western countries often, especially America. But this is the first that I've seen it, kind of coming home to Thailand, which makes a lot of sense, honestly. Dark web seller claims access to personal data of 36 million Thais. A database allegedly containing personal information of about 36.1 million Thai citizens has appeared on sale on an underground forum for $100,000. The seller claimed the database includes full names, phone numbers, date of birth, genders, and current addresses. The listing also claimed the data covers between 50 and 70% of Thailand's adult population. The seller said the information had been collected from several government and private sector sources. Payment was requested in Monero or XMR, a cryptocurrency known for being harder to trace than many other digital currencies and commonly associated with cybercriminal use. Daily Dark Web, which reported the listing, stated clearly that the authenticity of the data has not yet been independently verified. The outlet said it could not confirm the real source of the data, the number of people potentially affected, or whether the information was newly collected, old data being resold, or a compilation of several earlier leaks. Guys, this is so important to understand nowadays. I know the convenience of being able to do everything online is absolutely great, but especially if you just don't want spam phone calls all the time, but it can get way worse than that. People can do some pretty crazy stuff if they've got all your information. Even if it's just your date of birth, your name, your address, you'd be amazed at, the ways people can manipulate that to get things, to take out credit in your name, credit cards, buy things under your name, open up bank accounts, you name it. Protecting your data is so important. Another angle to this, if you are a foreigner coming to Thailand, something to consider is you're going to be accessing different networks than you might be used to. You're going to have to go and do different stuff online using different websites, stuff that you're not used to using at home. So it is very important to vet all of these. Me, when I'm traveling, I always use a VPN. It's not foolproof by any means, but it is one more line of defense for people being able to backtrace you to get your information. So this is something that happens in Thailand as well. Thailand isn't quite as modern, for lack of a better term, when it comes to, all the online registration and all that stuff like it is in America, where everything is like that, but it is still very common here. So if you are planning a trip to Thailand, make sure you protect all that stuff. Be very cautious about linking your bank cards, linking social media accounts, all that stuff. Stay on top of it, do your best. Like I said, nothing is foolproof, but it is very important to stay out in front of it, because if something like this happens and people start opening up credit cards and stuff in your name, getting your identity stolen is an absolute nightmare that can take years to get everything back to normal. So stay safe. Now, our next story is for sure under a much darker light, but I do think this is something that is very important to talk about for a multitude of reasons. This story, there is a whole lot to it, way too much to cover in this video, but here in the future, I'm going to be doing a much deeper dive into this entire story, the case, the trial, all of that. 2 sentenced to death over 2015 Erawan Shrine bombing. The Bangkok South Criminal Court sentenced 2 defendants to death today, June 11th, over the 2015 Erawan Shrine bombing at Ratchaprasong intersection, which killed 20 people and injured 160 others. The court delivered its ruling in the case against Adem Karadag and Yusufu Mayorali, sorry if I butcher those, both Uyghur nationals who were charged by public prosecutors with terrorism-related offenses and jointly carrying out the attack. At 12:50 p.m., the court sentenced both defendants to death, ruling that there were no grounds for leniency. After the verdict was read, Mayorali refused to accept the ruling and shouted inside the courtroom that he had disagreed with the decision, reported Thai PBS. He also said he mourned the loss of justice and insisted he did not commit the crime. Bombing took place at about 6:55 p.m. on August 17, 2015, when an explosion tore through the Erawan Shrine in front of the Grand Hyatt Erawan Hotel in one of Bangkok's busiest shopping and tourist districts. CCTV footage captured a man in a yellow shirt placing a bag believed to contain the device on a bench inside the shrine compound. Moments later, the device was triggered. The blast killed 20 people, including 6 Thai nationals and 14 foreign nationals. The foreign victims included 5 Chinese nationals, 5 Malaysians, 2 people from Hong Kong, 1 Indonesian, and 1 Singaporean. I've just done a bit of researching into this and, the case, how everything progressed, how they ended up coming to the conclusion that these guys were their suspects. We're not going to get into it here. Like I said, we're going to do a real good deep dive and kind of get into everything, all the narratives that are out there, the information that was made public. So of course, if that's something you want to see, make sure you go down, drop a subscribe. There's with this case, there's people in 2 camps. Of course, there's plenty of people out there who are anti-death penalty to a T. They think it's wrong no matter what. There's people out there that have questioned the proceedings, they have questioned the case, they question the investigation. And then of course, there's people who want answers, which I think is totally justified. I don't really have an opinion on this one just yet. Like I said, I want to do some more research and come to the best opinion that I can, but we know how these type of cases tend to go all over the world. When things like this happen, police need to get answers as fast as possible. And when that's going on, the reality is mistakes can be made. I'm not saying that's the case here, but it's always a possibility. And I am looking forward to dive into this a bit more, albeit a very dark situation, but informational nonetheless. So if that's something you want to see moving forward, let us know down in the comments and drop that subscribe so you'll be notified when we upload it. Now, rolling into this next story, this is another one that hit very close to home for me. Why? Because, well, just being transparent, I was bullied when I was a kid. I know what it's like to feel helpless, and it's not a good feeling. Now that I'm an adult and I am not afraid to get involved or stick up for myself, when I see other people that are being bullied by someone, it's very hard for me to just ignore it. But the reality is when you get involved in things that don't have anything to do with you, bad stuff can happen even though you are doing the right thing, which is what happened to this tourist in our next story. Foreigner hurt stepping in as man beats girlfriend in Pattaya. A foreign man was injured after intervening in a physical assault involving a Thai woman and her boyfriend at a restaurant in Pattaya yesterday, June 10th. Officers from Wang Pattaya Police Station were called to a restaurant in Soi Deposit 8 at around 8:20 p.m. following reports of a violent altercation. Police arrested 36-year-old Thai man Sitichai as he attempted to flee the scene in his car. A video recorded by a food delivery driver showed Sitichai attacking his girlfriend, who was lying on the road while defending herself. According to witnesses, the woman managed to escape and sought help inside a nearby restaurant. Sitichai followed her into the premises and attempted to force her to leave. A foreign customer dining at the restaurant then intervened and helped the woman. The footage showed the foreign man in a white t-shirt striking Sitichai in the face in an effort to stop him from grabbing the woman. The confrontation then shifted to the foreign man. Sitichai attacked the foreigner, leading to another Thai woman to step in and help. Food delivery riders and other people at the restaurant managed to separate those involved and push Sitichai away from the premises. Staff then locked the restaurant's front entrance while the woman was moved to the rear for safety. However, Sitichai returned and kicked the door open before entering the restaurant again. He attempted to continue the confrontation and later broke a glass bottle, using it to threaten his girlfriend and others present. So from the sounds of it, thank God nobody else got seriously injured. A beating sucks, but it's all right. The reality of this stuff is, guys, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, if something's happening, you should never get involved. It's hard to say. You just have to be honest with every situation, right? The reality is when it comes to us men, something that is very dangerous is a man that's having his ego hurt. If there's a dude that's willing to put hands on his girlfriend, he is 100% going to be willing to put hands on you. And when things like this happen, I've seen tons of cases over the years of some guy just trying to do the right thing, get involved, whatever dude was beating on whoever, then turns around and he stabs you, or, he comes looking for you later, or he follows you home. That's a reality that can happen anywhere, but especially in Thailand, you just have to be careful because you never know who you're coming across. The big narrative out there is that how friendly everybody is in Thailand, and for the most part, that is very true. But just like anywhere else in the world, there's people here who will fly off the handle And it's hard to say if it's worth you getting up there and getting involved. Another angle to this in Thailand is you do have to be very careful because the language barrier, especially when police get involved, can make it so hard to get the proper story across. If there's no other witnesses around or anything, and they show up and the other guy speaks Thai and you don't, it could be very easy for things to get misconstrued. And now you're in trouble on top of it. Ideally, you can get involved, not physically do something to try to help separate them, something like that. But at the same time, if you're sitting there and you see especially a woman getting on the ground, getting beat up by some dude, I'm not going to sit here and tell you not to do anything about it. Just please be careful, do your best to understand the situation and what might come of it, and just assume the worst. Assume that if you get involved, things could get very bad very quick. Try to be as tactical about it as you can. So that is our wrap for what is happening in Thailand this week. If you did make it this far in the video, thank you so much for hanging out. If you don't know, if you're new here, we cover pretty much everything Thailand, whether it be trending news stories, deep dives into specific criminal cases, tourism, motorsports, you name it. We do a little bit of everything. So if you would like to see more from Thailand as a whole, you know what to do. If you enjoyed the video, that like button helps get us in front of more people just like you, and it helps the channel grow and just facilitates more and more videos, ideally getting better and better. So if you want to do that, thank you so much. If not, thank you for watching. That is enough. And with that, I hope you have a great rest of your day or night, whatever it may be, and we will see you in the next video.